Hey everyone, it's Blair here at Time Trades. Got lots to cover this weekend, so let's dive right into it. On last weekend's video, we talked about doing a little experiment with Microsoft and with Splunk because they were showing confluence of timing and price signals. Timing, of course, coming from time trades and price coming from the Tom DeMark sequential indicators. So I wanted to give an update on how those trades panned out. So we're looking at Microsoft here, and this note shows where I entered using September 302.5 calls and what the setup was. So I entered pretty early on this bar. This is a 26-minute chart, but the actual price when I entered was probably down here. And had that was a pretty good entry, had a number of opportunities to sell it at 30, 40, 50% up, especially around here on the morning of September 1st. Chose not to, wanted to hang on for the time trades predicted high on the 3rd. That never actually materialized. So I ended up selling here on Thursday the 2nd with a small loss of 30 cents or 8% per contract. And that was very timely because that you can see how it was starting to dump down into the low 300s. So that was a pretty good entry that could have been a nice double-digit profit trade, but because of poor execution on my part, didn't take the profit when I had the chance, it turned into a small loss. The other trade was Splunk. Okay, so on Splunk, we had some good, we had another entry here on Monday morning. And we were talking about anticipating a push through this blue line here, which is Pythagorean resistance. I think it's on the daily chart or the weekly. Let's go out to the weekly and then we can see it better. Yeah, so here's the weekly chart. And you can see how when you use the Pythagorean resistance, and I really love these lines, by the way, and you draw it from, a major low and go up to a major high. You can really see how price tends to respect these levels very well. Fibonacci's are fine as well. I just have a preference at the moment for Pythagorean. I'm seeing it work a little better than fib levels in more symbols. So you can see the levels there if you want to try and replicate that on your charts and see if that improves your mileage. So yeah, as is typical around Pythagorean levels, they provide a fair amount of resistance. And I thought that the combination of price signal from the Tom DeMark side plus the timing from time trades would have allowed us to push through that resistance. We got a little pop on Monday morning, but then it slid back. I scaled in another entry later on Monday, and then this was a really good entry right here late on Tuesday. So I ended up with 3 separate entries, and this last entry here was really good because it ended up that after this 9-bar move up on the Tom DeMark sequential index, really should have sold on that 9-bar right at the Pythagorean resistance. Again, not the best execution on my part on the exit. And I ended up selling on this red bar here, reducing my profit quite a bit. I ended up profiting by 15% though, which is better than nothing, that's for sure. So these 2 experimental trades that I talked about last week, one ended up minus 8% on Microsoft and Splunk ended up plus 15%. Definitely could have done better, but that's okay. Still trying to work out the execution here and improve my my trade execution, especially taking profits when get up into that 40–50% range. That's something I need to improve. Okay, so that's that. I also want to show what's going on with Moderna. Now, we do not have Moderna in time trades because there isn't enough historical price data to train a model on it. But we do have IBB, of which Moderna is the single biggest component. So IBB is the biotech ETF. And I noticed this on Thursday that we've got a big series of high probability moves up coming this week. So on Friday, I took an entry on Moderna that turned into one of my biggest trades here. So let's go. So this Moderna entry here was a great entry, and this is Friday at about 11 a.m. Eastern. Picked up the September 24 420 calls while the stock was at about 397, and then this almost never happens to me, but almost immediately right after that it started pumping, and you can see it closed the day on 9 bars up. Up almost $20 from my entry. So this turned out to be really, really good. Now let me show you how I found this, because time trades has a really cool feature under models. So if you go here under models, it will basically list out all of the different predictive models that it trains every night. Okay, so the way I found this is I take advantage of this activity rating, and this shows, if you go back to the chart, what the activity rating is it's basically the sum of all of the forecasts in the 5-day percent up and pivot high, and 5-day percent down and pivot highs up here. So if you take all these 4 forecasts and add them all up in terms of probabilities, then we get basically an activity rating, and a 10 on the activity rating is basically has a lot of high probabilities, and a 1 has very little activity. Okay, so when we're trading options, like I like to do, we really want to find those active stocks, right? Stocks that are moving. Or alternatively, if you're selling options, you can look for stocks with declining activity ratings. So basically on Thursday morning, I went and visited the models page and just sorted by the activity rating. And I noticed over here that, IBB was one of the top 10. Okay, so this means that relative to other timeframes, within IBB, we're just comparing IBB with itself. We're not comparing IBB with any other stocks. So when you compare IBB with itself, the next 5 trading days is in the top decile of activity. That means there's the most there's the most predictive activity. It doesn't say anything about what direction it's going, but it does tell you that, hey, this is worth a look. So click on IBB, it goes to the chart, and I could see pretty clearly here that there was some big moves up. So this is a technique that you can use when you're using time trades to help find big potential movers. Obviously, don't trade these blindly. Take a look at the timing, and also take a look at the price, and always look for that confluence of time and price. Okay, so that's Moderna. That's working out well. And then we'll close out today's video with a quick look at Bitcoin. Now, one of the things that I did on the last week is I did make some changes to the algorithm in terms of the machine learning. And so you might see the charts look a little different because of that change. And one of the things that's happening now is the probabilities are a lot more confident, I guess. So you can see some the probabilities are up around 30, 40, 50% and more, whereas often they used to be quite a bit lower. So we still have this high probability move down forecast for Monday, September 6th. And that also aligns with roughly where we are in price. We're stuck at this 24 line here, right around 50,400. So that's providing some resistance. We can see how it's provided some resistance in the past. And this red line here is Mars's orbit. So I turn that on using the wheel of 24 settings here. So I'm showing the 24 lines and Mars, and the 24 lines are 7,200 in price apart. So this makes sense. I'm positioned anticipating a move down on Monday. If it doesn't happen, that will be interesting too. That'll be some news and information that we can use to guide our forecast going forward. But from here on out, you know, time trades isn't showing a heck of a lot when it comes to Bitcoin. So this is a chance to take a look at Gann waves and use Gann waves, and also the short-term waves. So let's turn those on. And the way I like to use the short-term waves is just take a look at yellow here and see what happened the last time yellow was declining like that, right? So be aware of that happening. I'm not saying that, you know, it's going to dump like it did in May here, but a declining yellow does tend to align with moves down. And also this coming week, we also have another inflection point in light blue. Okay, and remember the signals of these short-term waves are that when they cross the zero line, which is down here, this white line, or when they change direction, like how light blue is changing direction here. Okay, so be aware of that. And you can look back in history to see what kind of, excuse me, what kind of behavior price had when light blue changed direction, and also when yellow was declining. So be aware of that. I think we might get a little bit of a surprise dump on Bitcoin, just because from a price standpoint, we are at resistance. We're finishing the yellow phase of Gann waves, and we've got declining yellow, and we also have an inflection point in light blue. Okay, so that's it for me. Have a good week trading, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you.